Hello Steve, today is Wednesday, April the 2nd. Continuing the dialogue of our recent videos, I am going to talk a little bit more about the end of How I Met Your Mother, but more in general I'm going to talk about the idea of finality. That is, when an entire piece of work has come to a conclusion, and we can view it for its merits from start to finish. And there's a certain feeling that overtakes us once something has finally come to its conclusion because, for the first time ever, there's nothing that can change about it. In the example of television, if we don't like the way our favorite show is going, there's always an outside hope that it could veer off in a direction that we deem more favorable. And I think that's played a large role in the way that people have reacted to the end of a show like How I Met Your Mother, because, for the first time ever, there's no longer any hope that anything can change in the way it's been done. For better or for worse, the story's come to a conclusion. And there's no longer the joy of looking forward to the next episode coming up. But with finality also comes great opportunity, a chance to perceive an entire body of work from start to finish. And that's something to be relished. For me right now, it's made me think back of all the shows that I've watched in my years and how they all came to a finish. And in thinking about that, I've actually come to realize I haven't watched that many TV shows from start to finish. I tend to pick 3 to 4 shows that are currently going at that time and really follow them closely. And overall, I can't think of a single experience I've had a pure disdain over the way a show has ended. And any show that I don't feel like I'm a huge fan of the ending of typically had a lot of problems leading up to that ending. Namely, I didn't like the direction it was taken in the seasons leading up to that very final moment. Which certainly wasn't the case for me because, as I've said many times before in previous videos, I loved the direction that How I Met Your Mother took all the way to its final moments. And this leads me to a couple other topics I want to talk about from the final season. First of all, what I felt was my favorite episode of the season. And that was the 3rd episode from the end, an episode entitled Gary Blauman. In theory, the premise of this episode seemed almost like a filler episode. An inconsequential background character by the name of Gary Blauman shows up at a wedding uninvited. And this throws all the characters of the show a loop. Each main character individually takes a turn telling a story about why they either loved or hated this person. So essentially the 3rd last episode of the season is highly devoted to a character that we barely met before and pretty much never cared about. But one of the things that makes this episode so brilliant and so memorable to me is the way it all comes tied together at the end. The episode makes this great underlying point that there's many people in our lives that come passing through it. And many of these people have importance in certain moments, but in the end they're only really just passing by our lives. But when we find people passing through our lives that we want to have kept in our lives, we have to put an effort into keeping them there. And while there's many people that will end up passing through our lives, we will do what it takes to stay in touch with the people who matter the most. And they did a brilliant job tying this entire storyline into another story about the mother character on the show. Which is the next thing about the final season I want to give kudos to. And that's the performance of the person who played the mother character, Kristen Melody. And in her portrayal of the mother character in the final season, she basically stole every scene she was in. One of the last scenes of the TV series, which played out of the train station, was pretty much pure magic. And that scene certainly cemented another reason why the journey was so worthwhile this entire time. I always had my fears that the mother character would never quite live up to the expectations. And I'm really glad that the writers proved me wrong on that one. I also feel like her performance was so strong that it's led a lot of the people who didn't like the finale to have those feelings. So as I said in my video on Monday, I'm really going to miss this show. I'm looking forward to rewatching it all one day, especially now knowing how it all comes to a conclusion. And now, a little bit more challenge progress. I ran another 2.5 miles on Tuesday and another 2.5 miles on Wednesday, putting me now at 30 miles total. On Tuesday, I clocked in a time of 21 minutes and 52 seconds, and today, I clocked in a time even faster of 19 minutes and 52 seconds. So in the span of 2 days, I've shaved 3 minutes off my time. And I think I can go even faster. On to Battleship, your last shot was a miss. And my shot is G5, which leaves me to wonder what Judge Fudge would have to say about that.